Game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, on the map Mirage, currently 1-1. The history of these players on this map is Nullus picks Loki, Ulysses picks Kronos. Will we see that trend continuing in this game? Ulysses has already had success against Loki, but just because you have success doesn't mean that you played the game correctly. This is something that I always say. Just because you won doesn't mean that you were going to win every single game in that matchup. Nullus here has to have seen that game, has to be thinking, how is he going to be able to deal with Kronos? And does he have an option? Does he have a response to Kronos that is going to work here? Now, personally, if Ulysses does pick Kronos here and you pick Loki, I feel like you've got to go for a Heimdall rush. I feel like you can absolutely wipe out the Kronos player if they decide to go for the water attack. You can absolutely dismantle them with a crisp Loki build order. But the other thing here is Ulysses doesn't need to pick Kronos here. He can pick Set, for example. I think that Set is a really, really good god here against the Norses, because what you can do is you can do a 430 advance time, drop your barracks, and go for a crazy aggressive Axeman Spearman Classical Age, which is so strong. You can drop 2 monuments, you can eat Gazelle all day in your base while you're just trying to put pressure on. You push off your opponent's hunt, so they've got no hunt there to eat in the early game, and you just live the absolute dream where that's concerned. So we'll have to wait and see what these guys are going to pick. But I mean, in terms of like other strategies here, there are currently, well, actually we'll talk about what's remaining here for the gods. So Nullus has used his Zeus and his Odin. Ulysses has used his Zeus and his Hades. Wait, that doesn't sound right. We're on game 3. So Nullus has used his Zeus, his Hades, and his Odin. Ulysses has used his Zeus, his Hades. I've got memory loss. We've only played 2 games. What am I talking about? Nullus has used Hades and Odin. Ulysses has used Zeus and Hades. I should be keeping a track of this, but we'll see how it's going to go now. There is another option here to go Zeus on this map and go for a crazy hoplite rush as well. We'll wait and see. We're getting into the game right now, and we see something very surprising here, ladies and gentlemen. In the bottom of the map, in the blue color, playing as Kronos, his name is Nullus. His opponent today in the red color. No real surprises from Ulysses. He is playing Kronos as well. This is one of those things where, because the map is relatively new, and we haven't seen a whole lot of games played on it, people don't want to take a risk here in the late game, going for some sort of theory crafting build here. People don't want to take the risk. So we're not seeing like the crazy Loki Heimdall rush here. We're not seeing crazy Zeus Hoplite rush here. All these builds that potentially would be able to absolutely dismantle a Kronos. We're not seeing that. We'll have to wait and see what sort of shenanigans are going to happen in this game. But the big thing is that if both players go for the shifting sand strategy, what's gonna happen? Maybe the best play here is to not go for the shifting sand strategy at all. We saw a actually really, really interesting game on Sacred Pond, which was a Kronos mirror, which was, I believe, Kavoth versus Skadi, where Skadi just completely ignored the water on Sacred Pond and was able to get a win there by putting early game pressure onto his opponent with all of his raids and everything. So that could be an option here for these players to just simply ignore water in the early game, go for a crazy big aggressive play, mass Terma, push off the gold mine in the main base and set them back if that's what Ulysses wants to try and do. As we do see the deconstruct coming down there for Ulysses, or yeah, looks like Nullus uses the deconstruction first. Then Ulysses not actually sending his oracles in to fix that one up. Will it be a problem though for Ulysses? Is it going to be advancing a little bit later? Not sure if it's going to be that big of an issue, but we'll have to wait and see. As some cows getting stolen back here as Ulysses does spot that one there. as well. As the game slowly begins. In terms of fish on this map, it looks like it's going to be a 7-fish map. I haven't yet seen an 8-fish map, but it's an 8-fish map. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. So we'll have to wait and see. 8-fish is kind of very, very similar to a 9-fish map, obviously, in terms of builds. It's just, yeah, you don't get to spend that extra 50 wood to get an extra fishing ship, but you basically do the same builds for that kind of a situation. As we see the Oracle coming through here, I am interested to see if the reason why Ulysses is holding this deconstruction is to either use it on the temple or to use it on the dock. Could be like later in the game when he puts pressure onto his opponent. You can actually already see the Oracle is scouting out this position over here. And here's the thing. If Nullus was planning on not going for the deconstruction play, which it kind of looks like he's not, why not play Uranos here or play Gaia here for that matter? We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, Economic Guild coming up here for Nullus as the temple time shifting. That is easily the strangest time shift I've ever seen, but it will be protecting his gold mine quite significantly here in the front. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to go. As hard as Folly coming through here has been spotted on the middle of the map here. Extra line of sight for his scouts. Not going to be the biggest of deals. We do not see the docks on the sides of the map just yet. Ulysses scouting that out as the dock coming down here. Just a little bit of random. That felt like computer lag. I don't actually know. I'm going to have to wait and see at this point. This is one of those moments where where sometimes you just have to pause, let the lag subside. Unfortunately, I have no ability to pause as the observer. I can't make any of those kind of decisions in game. The players have to decide if they want to click save, and they can ask me for some input. I can do it there, but we're going to continue along, and it seems like it has sorted itself out. So I like that from Nullus. Whenever the game lags, just pause. Don't let the lag impact the game more than it does normally, if you know what I mean. Anyways, we see Odin's Wand over here, minus 20% temple upgrade favor cost. There's not really a whole bunch of temple upgrades for Kronos to really enjoy with that. So we do see the Valor coming down, military barracks, counter barracks here as well. I'm sure that the Valor will come down as well for Nullus here. He's actually only going for the one dock in his main base. He's very, very greedy because Ulysses here, he's going to be able to deconstruct this, right? He hasn't used deconstruction yet. Now, obviously, Nullus is going to be able to put him back up, but it could be a difficult thing to deal with. As we see, the Promethean going to be searching around the map looking for something to attack. Ulysses checking the sides of the water there just to see if anything is coming through, and he will be noticing that nothing is on the way there, as we've got a double counter barracks here for Ulysses compared to the military barracks, counter barracks. Sorry, for Nullus. I can't tell who's who because Ulysses is player 1. Why is Nullus player 1 here? It's too much effort. Now we see Nullus dropping a military barracks as well to boot at the end of all of this. Very interesting play here. 3 military buildings makes a lot of sense here because unlike on a land map, you actually start with roughly 3 villages more or citizens more, which is normally our third military building timing, is when you have those extra citizens out, you can put that extra military building down. So Nullus getting that up really, really early here. But he can also be spending favor and gold on extra Prometheans here as well, as both players playing incredibly defensive here now. This is high level play right now. It might not seem like it, but oftentimes the lower level of Age Mythology ends up with one player being a little bit more aggressive than the other, and it's very natural to think that's the way you need to play, because you do that in certain matchups where it's like, I've got an advantage, I need to put pressure on now. I need to hurt my opponent. But in the mirror matchup, at the absolute top level, what the best thing to do is let your opponent attack you and you defend perfectly, because that allows you to get advantages where your opponent cannot, because you have defender's advantage and everything else. But right now, Ulysses has a slight advantage in terms of population here. Nullus a little bit out on the middle of the map here. He's making his units. He will be catching up on the production here as he's training units. He's still getting his villagers out nice and fast. Villagers coming over here to eat the hunt over here. We haven't seen Ulysses jumping onto that location over there just yet. 95 population to 102 population here as Nullus moves straight past Ulysses here as they do notice each other in the middle of the map. Those Caraballister are going to be way too scary for Ulysses here as he's going to be retreating back. We're starting to see some Caraballister coming through for Ulysses as well, as both players are very, very equal in the numbers here. But Ulysses has got himself 5 Promethean to Nullus's 2 Promethean. Nullus trying to build some more out right now as he's trying to catch up on those numbers, taking his time here, as we might need to see another pause here coming through. Well, I mean, it hasn't happened. Let's see what's going to happen here as they continue to allow the disengagement to happen. As Nullus is just going to hold this position as best as he possibly can. Funnily enough, kind of the best way to control these armies for the Atlantean is to separate your military, your melee units from your ranged units, so that you're sitting them kind of in a straight line, kind of like this, so that they're just sitting defending, waiting for your opponent to come in. And we will see yet another pause as this is seemingly getting out of hand. Now, we did have a successful thing here. All right, we're going to save and restart, unfortunately. All right, what we're going to do here as we're trying to fix this up is we are going to restart Voobly. Everyone, restart Voobly. I believe it is Voobly's fault. All right, fully restart Voobly, and we'll see if this is going to fix this all up. Apologies for the technical delays, but man, this is just the life we live with. All right. My games, H mythology, save game, date modified, Uli Nullus. Yeah, move to Europe. Should do. Yeah, we'll do a land tournament at my house. Everyone come to Australia for a week. It'll be fun. Do. All right, we're just about ready to get going again. Yeah, it's not like the ping is jumping at all. It's just Voobly doing Voobly. All right, onwards and upwards. Okay, and we're back, and hopefully it's all sorted. Both players currently sitting at very, very equal population here. Medium infantry is coming through for Ulysses, so Nullus will have to grab that one as soon as he possibly can here. We'll see if that's going to come through in the next couple of seconds here or not. But, I mean, there's only a handful of actual infantry units here for Nullus, so we might actually want to skip on that and go straight for like a heroic age here, for example, as a different option. As the pressure coming through on this location still has 5 Promethean to 3 Promethean for Nullus as well. So Nullus, while he does have the stronger army at this point, he's just not wanting to fight just yet. We see medium infantry and copper shields coming through for Nullus as he's already got his armory down. This is going to be a really, really big help in this fight coming up. A little bit of a misclick there from Nullus onto the baboons here as he's trying to retreat away as the army going to be chasing this one down. As Ulysses, he's got a slight advantage, but is it going to be enough here? As there's the medium Murmillo coming through. I mean, there are 6 Caraballs to only 2 Caraballs for Ulysses, so it's really all going to come down to the micro as we see a second Townsend getting dropped here by Ulysses. This is incredibly, incredibly greedy at this point. As Nullus here, I think, well, we'll see. It looks like Nullus is going to be dropping his own town center behind all of this, but you basically have to fight here. Otherwise, this town center is not going to go up ever. As we see some more citizens moving forward onto this location, as that town center is shooting up incredibly fast here, but lots of damage coming through onto this location here as Nullus is trying to micro this one to the best of his ability here. Is he winning this fight? It still looks very, very equal at this point, as the town center for Ulysses will be getting up, and that will start catching Nullus out of position here quite severely. As the Promethean pushing forward, we will be seeing Nullus going to be retreating back here as he realizes he has to. He's falling a little bit behind in terms of population at this point, as more units are going to be moving through here to reinforce for Nullus. Defender's advantage definitely came in somewhat clutch there for Ulysses as he's continuing to take this fight. Lots of Caraballister on the back here. Prometheans, though, there is a significant number here for Nullus right now to help him out, but those hero term are going to be dealing with those nice and quick right now. Nullus is dropping even further down on the population as Ulysses is holding nicely in the middle of this map here, and now Nullus has to pull all the way back as we see a third Townsend getting dropped here by Nullus at this point. This is absolutely crazy. Will Ulysses spot this or not? It looks like he hasn't noticed it. He feels like he is I think that Ulysses thinks he's way further in front now than he actually is. But the question is, as the army now coming through onto this position, can he deny this town center or not? As we see there's a couple of hero units over here going to be doing a lot of damage. The Promethean going to need to push in. Lots of those Caraballister are through now for Ulysses, as these Terma here are not that useful at all. We do have the hero Terma over here going to be able to take out those Promethean on the back, as the town center is still coming up on this position. Will we see Ulysses going for a third town center just yet? No gold at the moment, no food here, as he's still trying to push through. A little bit of missed micro here from Nullus as he's targeting down a baboon in the middle of this fight, as those Caraballister are going to do a lot of damage over here as well. As Nullus has now hit himself the second town center on this position, pumping out some more of those units here, trying to micro a little bit with his Terma on the front here, as the town center will end up coming up. Ulysses here is also behind just a little bit in terms of citizens here, so Nullus is playing it really, really nicely, even though I thought maybe Ulysses' play here was slightly better to get this town center up first. He didn't follow it up with that third town center, and Nullus gets his up. He's on 3 town centers. He's got a villager lead here. He's sitting at a decent amount of population, and the question is, how does he transition this minute advantage that he has right now? It's very, very small, because we will be seeing a town center coming down very soon here for Ulysses. How does he transition this advantage into a tangible advantage, as we see the army swinging around this side, going to be looking for some sort of attack moving forward here? As Ulysses pulling back over here, the citizen waiting for the food to get this town center up. Doesn't quite have it just yet. As Nullus pushing forward, we see Ulysses going to be retreating back. A handful of citizen moving over onto this, over onto this location here. As this is something we see kind of I don't know if I want to attribute it to Kavoth, but I see Kavoth doing it a lot, is he puts multiple citizen onto a town center to get it up. Whereas, like, if you go back to, like, Army Corps days, he would only ever put one citizen on a town center to get that town center up. And this does allow you to get, obviously allows you to get the town center up much faster, but you lose out on a lot more resources to actually get that one up and ready to go. So it's a bit of a preferential trade there when it's all good. As we see, a very, very defensive army here for Nullus. He is not looking to really fight here. He's looking to try and take this game somewhat late game, as it is mass Cairo Ballista here. You can't really push here with either player. Both players are going to be kind of behind in some regard, as Nullus and maybe Nullus is... Has Nullus stopped building Murmillo? Yes, he has. He's building a ton of military buildings here. Time shifting in front of his town center, making that look as best as he possibly can. Both players getting closer and closer to being able to advance to the next stage. Ulysses getting himself purse seen at this point as well. As it seems like both players have kind of forgotten that they can attack their opponent's fish here by sending the villagers around the side. As we do see now, Ulysses coming up to this location. We see Hyperion coming through for both players at this time, so no crazy Rhea at this for this game here against the Kronos, like we saw Nullus do, no, Ulysses do to take out. Wait, who did it? I can't remember. My brain doesn't work. I think Nullus did it against Soup in game 7. He went Rhea and he absolutely totaled him with the behemoth push, but I guess both players still incredibly close together as Ulysses realizes he needs copper shields right now. Unfortunately, shield upgrades and all armor upgrades actually do not affect the Cairo Ballista. It's one of the reasons why you don't see Cairo Ballista really built in the late stages of the game. You only you really see them dropping off quite significantly as the game goes on, is because they just don't get armor upgrades. As Heart of the Titans coming through for Nullus. He's also getting Bowsaw as well, as the Satyr going to be moving forward to start putting some pressure on. Having a handful of other myth units in your army here is vitally important. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to delete the Prometheans, to get 2 Promethean offsprings here, to bait out a Chaos to make sure that works, as this citizen does get spotted out in no man's land with that military barracks going down over on that location there, as Nullus pushing in. Nullus getting a lot of resources in the back. We see Sultan 4 immediately coming through for Nullus, as heavy archers and shaft mine and copper weapons are the upgrades of choice here for Nullus. So a little bit of a difference here for both players, as we Atlas coming through here immediately for Ulysses. Very, very fast here in this game, as the Promethean offspring does get hit on this position. I feel like Ulysses is going to try and take out every one of those Promethean offspring first, and then cast his own chaos at this point, which would be really, really smart. And will we see that? I imagine we will right now, right? He doesn't see any myth units there, and no chaos. I don't know what's happening, as the Murmillo searching around on this position. Nullus is still a little bit behind here on the advance time. Ulysses obviously struggling because he spent the resources already, but Atlas will come in, will be able to clean up an entire army here. The question is going to be, will it matter or not, as Nullus now able to click up to the next stage. What is he going to go for? He goes for Helios. The thing here now is Helios is a straight counter to Atlas, or at least to the implode of Atlas. He needs to get there before it gets clicked, though, is the thing. And I doubt that Ulysses is going to want to use implode on this position here. So if Nullus can hold this position here, he's retreating back at this point, but if he can hold this position here, implode next to his own town center is definitely not something that he's going to want to actually have happen to him in this game, as we see villagers now moving over here. Nullus trying to control the map as best as he can, as the implode does actually come down onto this position, trying to retreat back on this location over here, keeping himself alive. We've got the palace up on this position, so a very, very different decision here from these players. Helios versus implode, as the units mostly escape out of here. We see a deconstruction coming through on this position as the army attacking over here, but it will seem to me that Ulysses is going to be able to clean up the majority of these units and have a slight advantage moving forward. But there's no tangible advantage here for Ulysses, so the late game of Nullus
Boit
is going to be
live.
much, much better. So we'll see how it's going to go. Thank you for the 1,000 bits there, Howard Hughes. Appreciate you, my friend. As the Palace does end up coming through here, we've got the Ulysses unit starting to move forward. What does Nullus have as a response here? He's got a lot of those Archers in his base, and we see an immediate... is that too early? It's too early. You have to wait a couple of seconds. We saw this happen with, I believe, Soup as well, where he went for the Vortex onto this location. And while this is going on, we see the Palace time shifting in for Nullus. This is so smart. Will the town center get taken down? But while this is also going on, Ulysses is bringing in his own Palace in onto this position. The villagers coming through here as well. Will Nullus be able to drop anything else on this position? He's got a lot of resources left in the bank here. He's trying to shank down this. The town center does end up going down. Meanwhile, we've got the Gigantes sneaking in onto this town center over here as we've got Masons coming through. Who is going to be able to hold in this location is the big question. The Palace will get up. There's lots of myth units here for Ulysses. A handful of heroes are in on this position as well as the Palace comes through for Ulysses. The deconstruction comes down onto the Palace of Nullus, and it looks like this is going to be no way to hold just yet as the Gigantes still pushing through over on this location. Will Nullus be able to clean this one up or not? Is he making more Gigantes? Yes, he is, as we do see the Vortex coming through over onto this position. He's trying to distract as best as he can. 2 Gigantes through here should be able to clean this Palace up really, really quickly. Do we see another Palace coming up on the middle of the map? Yes, we do. Trying to secure the gold while this is all going ahead. As the town center is denied, the citizens over here might get sniped down as well. The Gigantes moving in onto this position to take down those Kyra Ballaster. That special makes so much disruption into this fight here. As the Argus coming back in, you got to be careful not to lose the Gigantes to the Argus. It moves so fast at 4.51 speed. We see some hero Arcus coming through onto this position as he does end up losing that one there to the Argus. The more units coming through for Nullus here is he's getting a Palace set up onto this position. His Palace is up over here as well. There is gold over on this position. There is gold over on this position here still for Ulysses as he is desperately trying to hold on here. It's still very, very close as a whole bunch of citizens moving back over onto this position. I don't think it would be a bad idea to kind of make some Fanatics or some destroyers in this position for Nullus because there's so many Archers here that could be getting tanked as we do see the villagers getting this one up. Another Gigantes does end up going down here as Ulysses sends his villagers forward to start mining this gold mine on that location over there. As we do see yet another Vortex coming through, you're going to try and snipe down those villagers. Do we have full population here for Nullus? He should be able to prevent the town center from going up as the citizens retreating back ever so slightly, pulling around with the chaos coming down there for both players. And the Argus does get hit. That's absolutely huge. The destroyer sitting on this town center now, and it looks like Nullus will be able to hold here as Ulysses is getting pushed off. He's going to be losing so many citizens on this point over here. As the Murmillo gets cleaned up over there, we see some raids onto this gold mine, but the villagers just simply going to garrison into the palace over here as well. The town center is now under the control of Nullus. Would love to see him move forward and just drop another palace here. Don't go for the town center just yet, but go straight for a palace on it and make sure that he holds it because he also needs to control every other position on the map here to make sure he can win this game. But he is going for that town center, so a little bit greedy. We'll see how it's going to go. Armory upgrades here nearly. Well, he's got bronze weapons and full copper here. We've got full copper for Ulysses as well as the human units pushing through onto this position over here. We've got the army just going to be sitting on this settlement for the time being as Nullus is going to pull back ever so slightly. He does have enough resources to time shift the palace over onto this position if he so chooses here. Not only that, he could still make more Gigante and try and take out this town center with a sneaky play there as the destroyer kind of Murmillo ball of units here is so strong here at this position as we see Citizen now moving forward for Ulysses, trying to get over here, trying to drop some sort of palace here, but Ulysses is just not going to be able to push through all of these Arcuses. Those Contaris here are just not going to be strong enough either. They will be hitting the town center for the time being, hitting those villages. There are some low HP villages, making maybe some hero citizen if he has the resources wouldn't be a bad play. He's got lots of more citizens to move forward over into this position. He's just going to be putting everything onto that town center here as the destroyers are taking everything down over here. We do see the fire siphon coming through for Ulysses as he's going to try and put a little bit of pressure over onto Nullus's town center over here potentially. eventually, as all of the Citizen dropping this one down. We see a Palace coming up as well. Champion, Arcus are in for Nullus, as somehow Ulysses is in the front on the score, but Nullus is winning in tech, he's winning in economy, he's winning in army size, as the fire siphon over here falling as well. We also see a watchtower coming down here as Nullus is absolutely unrelenting here. The gold mine's finishing up here as well for Ulysses. He's about to be running out. He's going to have to move forward onto this gold mine here, and I imagine Nullus is going to be able to drop a palace there relatively soon as well, as Nullus' citizens getting pushed back. The town center just about to come up for Nullus, as he's going to be able to get all of those all of that economy coming into extra population. Is already at 173 of 180 population. Started a handful of llama caravans here as Ulysses. He's now got another Argus out. He's got his units over here, but he is too far behind. He's lost control of the map, and he will eventually lose control of this game, deciding to tap out here. A beautiful play here from Nullus. The Vortex, the Helios is just such a strong god in this matchup, and in the Atlantean matchup to boot. We see Tartarian Gate get used all the time, Hecate get used all the time, but in reality, Helios more often than not is actually better than even Hecate in this matchup. But obviously there's no Hecate here, so Helios has to be the go-to, but we saw Ulysses go for the crazy kind of almost timing push-esque implode, and he just didn't have anything to back it up, and Nullus was able to convert his position here in this game. I'm interested in this post game just a little bit to see how the resources were looking, and I'm absolutely right. Nullus is way further in front. The units killed lost definitely favoring Ulysses here, which is probably why his score was so high, but Nullus able to get the win. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.